What's up guys, it's Rowan here from Artismart TV. And with the new HSC syllabus, there's been so many changes and they can all seem a little daunting. And one of them is the introduction of a new assessment type called a multimodal presentation. And it's compulsory, you're gonna have to do one of these in year 12. You'll also likely get one in year 11 as part of giving you some practice and some exposure. But what on earth is it? And how do you actually nail it? That's exactly what we're going to share in this video. I'm going to share with you what it is, and I'm going to show you how you can craft a killer multimodal presentation to help you score that Band 6 in HSC English. So what on earth is a multimodal text? Ultimately, a multimodal text is really simple. It's the combination of two or more communication modes. So for example, that could be print, it could be an image, it could be combined as a film or a video as an example. Now, the typical ways that we see this is really popular and also overdone in-class presentation. So you're giving a speech and you have a PowerPoint, a presentation behind you that maybe shows some images that relate, right? Now that's really common and overdone, right? It's the most common form that you will see. There are some other things that you can do. So you could do a video or a vlog, you could do an audio file or a podcast, or you could do a viva voce, which is like an interview style with perhaps a poster or a visual representation that goes alongside it. So the key here is there's many different forms that multimodals can take as long as you've got two or more communication modes. Really critical. How do you craft a killer multimodal presentation? I'm going to cover 4 steps that you need to keep in mind if you want to really nail that multimodal presentation and assessment at school. Now, step number 1 is really simple. Pay attention, careful attention to your assessment criteria and notification. Multimodals are great. They're more creative, there's more scope for creativity and flexibility, but honestly, in all of that, there is also more risk. There is also more risk that you miss the mark on the day. And I see that happen. The most common feedback I see come through is often, that students, multimodals, haven't hit the question or they haven't hit the requirements as specifically as they've needed to. When you've got an essay, it's almost a more known quantity of what you need to do. A multimodal is a little different. And so it's really critical, first step, that you go through that assessment notification line by line, mark it up, highlight it, really drill into what is required for you to nail that multimodal. Sounds simple, but honestly, the amount of students that skip this step and just jump straight into creating it is huge. And if you don't get this right, that's the foundation. If you don't get it right, the rest, no matter how wonderfully you present, how amazingly vivacious you are when you're presenting, it's not going to matter if you haven't got the criteria right. So that's step number 1. Now, step number 2 here is that at the same time, because it's not an official essay, you can't throw out all the stuff that you would normally do for an essay and go, well, that's not relevant anymore. Ultimately, there is some things that you're going to still need to do because it is, in essence, still getting you to think about a text, to think critically about the ideas within it, to potentially compare it and contrast it to another text. All things that you may still be expected to do in an essay, it's just the form is now different. The way in which you're communicating it is different. So, really critically, step number 2 here is you've got to create a T table. Now, a T table, essentially, technique, example, effect, or analysis, depending on how you want to spell T, T-E-E or T-E-A. The point being is I want you to go through your text and identify the key ideas that are being explored in it. And for each idea, I want you to create a column which lists the examples in the text that relate to that idea, theme, motif, whatever language your teacher has used. All right, that's column number 1. Then in column number 2, you're going to look at, well, what is the literary device, the visual device that's being used in this example? Is it onomatopoeia? Is it figurative language? Is it in German? Whatever it is, right? You want to identify what that is. And then in the final column, the effect or the analysis column, what you've then got to look at is, well, how does this technique in this example, what do they say? What are they trying to say about this idea? What's the meaning behind it? And you want to write that down. Now, what that gives you is a really powerful framework then, if you need to write an essay later on, awesome. So it's going to help you prep for your trials and HSC exam when you get assessed as an essay and not a multimodal. But it's also going to give you the key framework in terms of analysis that you'll need to embed and integrate into your multimodal presentation. So again, we've got templates available for this stuff. We'll make sure that we link it below in the video and in the article so that you can just download a template and use this as step number 2 in preparing for your multimodal presentation. So step number 3 is to actually write your draft early. And the reason for this is that a multimodal presentation can be interesting in that it can fall in between 2 different types of language choice. So the first one is formal language, right? Which is what you might typically have for an essay. You're expected to write very formally. But on the flip side, this ultimately is a presentation. It's a speech that you're giving, which can often feel more casual. And so you've got to get the right balance. And I find a lot of students tend to struggle with this. They tend to either go to either extreme. They either go to the too formal type, because you're used to writing essays, which are very formal, or you go to the too casual type because it's a speech, right? So you can be more colloquial. Now, of course, it's got to be somewhere in between, and so writing your draft early is critical so that you can get feedback on it to improve this. Feedback from your teacher, from a tutor, someone that can help you just refine your language. And to be honest, you need time to do that. So start early and get feedback on this so that you can nail your choice and tone of language. So step number 4, the final step, is practice delivering your multimodal presentation. Now, of course, if you've done a video or a podcast, you can just repeat as many takes as you need to get it right. Just like we sometimes need to do with these videos. Maybe you just do the conclusion part there. But honestly, if you're delivering a presentation, a speech, don't wait until the night before to practice it. Or practice it at all, right? Because I find that so many students go into these multimodals and just suck at the presentation side. And look, it's not going to be worth all of the marks, sure, but if you look through your assessment notification, you will have marks allocated towards your ability to present. That's going to be important. So critically, in the lead up, and don't leave it till the night before, give yourself more time, practice. Practice delivering and presenting your presentation to family members, to friends, to a tutor, so that you can get some feedback on what you're doing well. Because, honestly, what they might pick up is they might pick up that you're wiggling, that you're just being fidgety, that you're moving too much from side to side, that your voice isn't loud enough and you're not projecting enough. So they're going to pick up all these little things that are going to help you refine these, which can take a bit of time, so that when you turn up on the day to deliver your presentation, you nail it and you maximize the marks on the presentation side of things. Because honestly, that's part of the assessment that you should nail. You can practice that. It's not a question of subjectivity of, have I got the right content in here? It's just about being able to confidently stand and deliver your presentation. So you want to maximize those marks. So that's it, guys. They're the steps to craft a killer multimodal presentation. If you have any questions about how to do it, or you're prepping for yours and you're not sure, leave a comment below. Myself and the incredible team of English tutors and mentors from Artismart will jump in and reply and give you a bit of guidance. Of course, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. We do videos every single week, so that way you can procrastinate productively on YouTube. I will see you next week.